Good evening, everyone. Today we are going to explore how disability has been represented in literature as well as in media, from the ancient metaphors to modern authentic portrayals. This, like the next 10 minutes, will reveal how society's view of disability have shifted over time and why representation matters so deeply. Today's agenda will be the historic representations or the depictions on the tropes, models of disability, critical disability theory, authenticity and the representation, art as activism, conclusion and some recommendations. Historically, disability was rarely seen as neutral. In Greek, Roman and medieval texts, it was often depicted as punishment, sin, or divine lesson. Literature repeatedly used disability as a symbol. In what Cathy did, Cathy's accident becomes a moral lesson. She learns patience and obedience through her disability. In Dickinson's A Christmas Carol, disability is portrayed as pitiable but saintly inspiring. Hans Christian Andersen's The Little Mermaid suffers silently, whereas her disability is a metaphor for sacrifice. The message in all of these is disability equals tragedy, virtue, or punishment, but not fully humanity. Moving to the next slide, we see the understanding of medical and the social models. By the 19th and the 20th century, the medical model dominated. Disability was seen as a flaw inside the individual. The solution is either cure, rehabilitation, or normalization. But activists in the 1970s and the 1980s challenged all this. They created the social model of disability, shifting focus away from the individual to the society's barriers. If a wheelchair user cannot enter a building, the problem isn't their body, it is the stairs. This was a turning point from pity and cure to rights, accessibility and inclusion. Coming to the critical disability theory, building on the social model, critical disability theory argues that disability is a social construction. Language, literature, and stereotypes either reinforce oppression or challenge it. The aim is not to analyze disability but to amplify the disabled voices and reshape all these representations. Some of the tropes and the stereotypes in literature and media, despite the progress, certain tropes dominate storytelling. For example, the pitiable villain, characters who exist to inspire pity. The male Olen's villain, disability tied to evil. The inspirational super crip, that is, characters who overcome disability to inspire the others or the audience. The redemptive queer, that is, a person with disability at the end of the story is cured or fixed. Each of these tropes reduce disabled people to symbols, either tragic, evil, or heroic, but never simply human. Coming to the shift towards authentic representation, from the 1970s onwards, disability right activism reshaped literature and media. Instead of metaphors and tropes, there was a call for authenticity as well. That is when the hashtag Own Voices movement, launched in 2015, highlighted that the importance of stories written by disabled authors themselves. Representation was no longer about disability as a tragedy or miracle, but about disabled people as multidimensional individuals. Moving to the next slide, we have showcasing of the authentic representation in the positive manner. For example, we have children's and young adult literature. The work is L. Defoe, and in the genre of romantic, we have Get a Life, A Room Called Earth, And in the genre of mystery, we have Fortune Favors the Dead, contemporary fiction, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Night Time. And these works shows disability as whole people, funny, flawed, brilliant, and complex. Coming to the media representations, yet the media still struggles. In 2023, only about 2.2% of film characters were disabled, and most of these roles went to the non-disabled actors, a practice called cripping up. Common film tropes persist that are the victim, the supercrip, the villain, infantilization, or the better off dead narrative. These reinforce pity and stereotype instead of nuance. Shift in the global cinema, still there are a breakable or breakthrough worldwide in Hollywood. CODA in the year 2025, which cast deaf actors in deaf roles. In Europe, it was The Intouchables, which drew praise but also criticism for stereotypes. In Asia, we have Still Human and India's Ahan, which gave fresh and nuanced perspective. In Indian cinema, we also have the Margarita with Astra and Pair and Bill, which addresses disability, sexuality, and dignity head on. And the principle, like coming to the art, activism, and the self-representation, representation is not just about stories written about disabled people, but those created by them. This is the we have a popular or the principal formula for this, that is nothing about us without us. And so, what is the takeaway? Disability representation has evolved from moral metaphor to medical flaw to social construction to authentic identity. But stereotypes are still there. True inclusion means avoiding tropes, embracing complexity, and centering disabled voices. Disability must be shown not as exception but as a part of ordinary human diversity. Thank you.